If you take a look at me, you see a white woman with glasses, no makeup, my hair's not done, and you can make all sort of assumptions about who I am, where I'm from, what my socioeconomic status is, what race I am. And with each of those assumptions comes a conclusion about the type of person I am, the type of traditions I have in my home, the kinds of assumptions that I have about other people. As an educator, I strive to be as impartial as I can for each and every student that walks through my door. But it hasn't always been that way, and it certainly isn't always easy. I grew up in a white neighborhood, a white school. I had two people, maybe three, that I went to school with that weren't white. I know one was African American, and he was a great guy, don't get me wrong. And then there were two Mexican girls that I went to school with, and they were nice. I didn't know them. I didn't talk to any of them, to be real honest. But after growing up in a fundamentally white home, I came out of it with some stereotypes about African Americans, about Hispanics, that until I became an educator in a predominantly African American minority school, those things changed. My students were mostly African American. They were mostly great kids. They didn't steal my stuff like all of the other teachers on my campus told me. They were always saying, don't leave your phone laying around, lock up your purse, do this, do that, because the students here are going to steal it. The students here are going to take it. They're going to lie to you, this, that, or the other. Anyways, I came out of that situation more having a different perspective of those students, a different respect for those students than other teachers, because I didn't assume that they were going to be like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was scared that those African American students or the gangster looking students would do something, but I tried to keep my biases and my assumptions under control, and especially not let some students see that I might have had those assumptions of them at first, because I was trying to build a relationship with them and who they are and give them the best education possible. Because all students deserve to be educated, no matter what their skin looks like, no matter where they come from. And there is an achievement gap. There is an opportunity gap. There is no way that I can sit here and say that there's not. In each of these chapters, Chapter 10 by Paul Revere, Chapter 11 by Amy Sitchell and Ann Bacon, and Chapter 12 by Darlene Berg. They all talk about the lower income students, the students of color, how they have not got as much exposure to learning and to opportunities that help them learn as middle class or higher class income white students have gotten. So those students of color, those students of economically disadvantaged have to work twice as hard just to try to even kind of sort of catch up. Which is where, as an educator, I agree with Ann Bacon and Amy Sitchell on how they detract their school, eliminating essentially the lower track, the what we would call here the regular classes, and everybody was put into more rigorous courses with higher expectations of them, because as we expect more of our students, they will strive to meet those expectations if there's a good trust and foundation and relationship built, which is what they did through professional development, through training, through relationship building with those students. Those students needed that rigorous coursework. They needed the extra support classes. What they needed, they got. Isn't that what equity is supposed to be about? If I don't develop equity in my classroom, if I don't give them rigorous coursework, if I don't provide each student with what they need to be successful, if I don't listen to my students, how are they going to learn? How are they going to learn each and everything that I need them to learn as a teacher to be successful? If they all learn differently, they're all going to struggle with something differently. They're all going to need extra support in different things. It's not a cookie cutter education system anymore. I believe it's Amy Sitchell and Ann Bacon that talk about the education system was designed as a mass production system. You bring in all kind of students, you educate them all, and you send them out all on their way into the workforce of the 1950s, 1960s. Very cookie cutter, everything's the same. It's not like that anymore. My students have to know that their needs are being met by me, the person that they're supposed to be able to trust, that they're supposed to be able to learn from. If I'm not giving them those things, if I'm not showing them equity more than equality, how are they going to learn that fair doesn't always necessarily mean equal?